All right. So, since, there's been things going on behind the scenes with Ace airing out his dirty laundry on the internet and making me seem like the bad guy, I gotta tell the whole story on what's happened between me and Robert. So, back in August of 22, I went to Oregon to, go visit Ace, and then the plan was supposed to have him come move in to the house with me in Ohio, and that's what we did. He moved in, and everything was good the first 2 months, I would say. He was keeping up with his chores, around the house and stuff like that. He was working. He was keeping up with the rent. Everything was good. There was no problems there. So, he ended up, it all changed whenever he got with this girl called Diamond. He got with this chick, and instantly, there was this big change in his personality towards me and my family. There was, all I'm going to say about this Diamond chick, because I don't want to get into it too far, he was bringing this chick into the house, and at first I didn't care, because it was his girlfriend, but there was instances where she would leave rags like this toilet paper covered in blood, and she would set it next to the toilet on the floor. And I caught it once in the upstairs bathroom, and I saw her do it, or I saw another period blood rag down in the basement bathroom on the on top of the toilet rather than inside of the toilet. So I brought it up to Ace, and so he cleaned it up. I told him, I was like, look, dude, this isn't how I want to live. I don't want to have this chick coming into my house and, leaving this kind of stuff throughout the house. And also, he would create messes around the house too, and I was left to clean all of it. And I understand, you get home from work, you have a long day, you have a mess, but the mess would sit for weeks at a time, and then it was left on me. And so this isn't even the worst part, okay? I think whenever it started, Robert really started changing towards me, is whenever he asked me one day, he's like, can I borrow your glass bong or whatever, so me and Diamond can smoke out of it? And I'm like, sure, dude, I don't care, I'll let you borrow it, And so he borrows it, I didn't think nothing of it because, Robert, I've known him for over 6 years. So, I didn't see there was going to be any problem. And then I think it was a week later, I asked him, I was like, so dude, where's the glass at? Can I have it back or whatever? And then he's like, he starts mumbling around. He's like, yeah, sure. Let me go grab it real quick. So, I think we went out into town whenever I asked him for it back, and I was in his passenger seat, and I noticed the glass nail that goes in to the bong that holds the stuff you're smoking out so you can smoke through it. And also I noticed one of my lighters from my childhood on his dashboard, and I never told him that he could take that. So he went into my room and took that without asking me. So then when I told him, I was like, can I have the bong back, this and that. And he starts looking through it in his car. And mind you, his car was a complete disaster. It was a mess. And, I went into the house. I got my stuff out of the car after we got back. I went into the house. I didn't think nothing of it. And he comes back into the house. And he's like, dude, I think I threw your bong away whenever I was cleaning my car. Now, I was like, at first, it kind of irritated me because, I let him borrow it, and then the fact that he threw it in the garbage, But I mean, at first, he was like, dude, I'm going to pay for it, I'm going to give you the money back. There's going to be no problem. And so I was like, all right, as long as you give me the money back for it, there'll be no problems. So, I think, after he left the house again for some reason, I called my brother and I was starting to explain to him what happened, but I couldn't tell him the full story because Robert came back into the house and then he heard me talking to my brother about it, and how I got the bong is me and my brother went to the store and we bought it. It was both of ours technically. And so, my brother he wasn't thinking. He starts talking to Robert about it. He's like, oh, you don't have to worry about it, this and that. You don't have to worry about paying it back. And, my brother didn't know what actually happened to the bong. So, after he left the house, he was like thinking, oh, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out from paying from it. So after he left, I sat down with my brother, over the phone. I was talking to him. I explained the whole situation, that he threw it away. And, he was like, oh, shit. He was like, maybe I should actually have him pay for the glass. Because that's a little ridiculous. How do you throw something like that away, especially if you borrow it from somebody? And so, I told him, I was like, I agree with you. I mean, I think he should pay for it too. And, so I think it was a day later or something. I can't remember how long it was, but I texted him, or I either texted him or went up to him or something. And I told him, I was like, hey, dude, I think you should replace the glass just for the inconvenience of you throwing it away. So at first he was like, all right, no big deal. I'll pay you back. So, this is around December of 22, near Christmas time or whatever, So, weeks go by. I didn't see no money. He's working, by the way. He's working, and as he's with this girl or whatever, he's only at this point only known for a month or 2 months or something like that. She was starting to come over more frequently in the house, and she was starting to basically live here without paying rent. And, I gave Robert a really good deal on that room for staying here. I was charging him, it was in between $400 to $500 a month just to stay in the house. And houses around here, they could easily go for $800 to $1,000 a month. So I cut him a really good deal with staying here. And he was bringing this chick into the house, and she was staying multiple days at a time, using all the utilities, using all the water. She was dirtying dishes, and her and him both were dirtying dishes, and they would not clean up after themselves. There was a stack of dishes in the sink for a month because it was obviously his turn to do the dishes. So, we would take turns doing the dishes. I didn't have a problem doing my part, but there was a point, there was this food on top of the stove in this pot that sat there for 3 to 4 weeks. And I told him multiple times during that time period, I was like, dude, you need to do the dishes and get them clean. It's like, you can't be living like this. And then, like, beside all that, there was an instance with Diamond. I was sitting on my chair in the living room, and Ace is at work or whatever, and she comes out of his room and walks past me and says absolutely nothing to me. So I didn't think nothing of it. It's obviously, there's nothing wrong, So she's in the kitchen for like 10, 20 minutes, and then she comes back into the living room to go into the bedroom, and she doesn't say nothing to me again. Like, there's no problem still that I thought of. So, she didn't say nothing. It didn't bother me, And then Robert, I think it was like either a day or two later, he comes up to me and he's like, so Diamond has a problem with you. And I'm like, okay, what's the problem? What did I do? And she told Robert that she said hi to me whenever she walked past me those 2 times, and I didn't say nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, dude, she's lying to you. Like, there's no reason for me not to say hi to her, when she, I would have said hi back, but she obviously didn't say nothing to me because I didn't have no headphones in or nothing. I was just browsing the internet. And so what ended up happening is, like later on, he started saying, oh, it's a miscommunication between you two and this and that. And it's not a miscommunication on my part. It was a miscommunication on her part because she didn't say nothing. And Robert in my personal opinion, just the way Robert was going on about it, it was like he was siding with her over, like what I was saying, because I've known Robert for over 6 years, and Robert's only known this chick for like 2 months at this point. And obviously, like later on down the road, she was like trying to get him to go against me, this and that. And, he told me that. And, so I let that situation go. I let it go. So then Christmas comes around, and I bought him a $60 video game, right? $60. I was like, we're gonna play this game together. Me and our other buddy, we're all 3 of us. We're gonna play this game together, and he took the game, right, and then he ended up throwing it in the garbage, just like he did the glass bong. And I'm thinking to myself, after I found out that he threw it away, I was thinking to myself, I was like, this dude does not give one fuck about me. And so, like, who does that? Like, seriously, like, name one time, like any situation you've ever, gifted to a best friend or something like that, or a family member, and then they throw your gift away. Like, what is that really saying about your friendship? And so, I let that go because, I was like, I don't know what he was thinking, but, I started bringing it up. I started talking to Robert about all these problems that are arising, and he's like, well, I don't think I'm entitled to pay you the glass back because it was your brother's. And he was telling me how my brother told him not to worry about it, this and that. But I was clearly telling him that he needs to pay for the glass back. So he starts bringing up this big issue about how he's not entitled to pay for the glass. And so I was like, I was telling myself, I was like, I'll let this dude out of my, I was trying to help him out by letting him use it. And the fact that he's willing not to pay for it after he threw it away, like not manning up and taking action for himself, like, that was a slap in the face to me. And let alone the fucking video game that I bought him. That was money that I could have used for gas or something, but he threw it away. And so, we got into a couple arguments about it, this and that, and so there was a period where like he just wasn't coming home, and like whenever his car would break down, the only time he would contact my family, my dad, would be for my dad to fix the car for him. And so, my dad did it out of the curiosity of his heart. And Robert never offered any money to my dad for all the times that he's fixed his car. And like my dad was spending time that he could have been in the house resting on his days off, like trying to fix this dude's car. And he never once brought up like, hey, I'll pay you for the labor that you're doing. And it got to the point to where, he would only message my dad just to get his car fixed. And, me and my dad noticed this. And so there was one night, him and Diamond were driving around in the snow or whatever. And so he calls me, and he told me he wrecked the car. So, so I was like, well, I'll come and get you or whatever. And he's like, oh no, I'm not stuck or anything. Let me think. I think he was stuck. The first time I think he was stuck. And so I went up to go find him or whatever. He was on the side of the freeway. And me and my dad were in the truck. So we got the truck and we ended up pulling in front of him and tying a rope around the car and pulling him out of the ditch or whatever. And so, I didn't think nothing of it. It wasn't bad. There was just a little scrapes alongside the car. So I didn't think nothing of it. So a couple days later comes by and he calls me again and he told me that he wrecked the car again. And this time the passenger wheel was bent to the side and literally the alignment was out of the car because he crashed it so bad. So he brought it back to my parents' house, and my dad started looking over it, and he's like, you need new control arms, you need a couple other things to get it back on the road or whatever. So my dad fixed it, no problem. And after he went into the house when we were looking over the car, me and my dad started talking, and we were like, wonder if Diamond was driving the car when this happened, because it doesn't make sense that Robert would damage his own car like this twice in a week. So he comes into the garage and we confront him because he told us he was driving the car when it happened. So this dude, when me and my dad started talking about it, we were like, well, was you driving the car? And he was like, yeah, I was driving the car. And like, we started talking about how we believed Diamond was driving the car. And he started to freeze up when we were asking him the questions and stuff. We were like, well, she was driving the car, wasn't she? And he froze, and then he was like, yeah, she was driving the car. And at that moment, lying to me and my dad, about something as simple as that, right? Like, what else is this dude lying about? So, my dad fixes the car. It's running again. My dad's fixed his car multiple times. And mind you, this Diamond chick lived in Pittsburgh, and she was like, I don't know, like 40, 50 minutes away from the house. I don't know the exact amount, but like every day he would drive over there and he was wasting gas. So after January or whatever, January came around and he did not pay me the rent for January. And I'm like, well, dude, are you going to have the money for January? And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm just short right now. I don't have no money right now. And, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, all right, that's no problem. I'll wait, until you get yourself some money. And so, obviously what was really happening was he was spending gas money, driving her all over Pittsburgh and stuff, and driving to Pittsburgh. And like he was spending all his money on this chick when he could have been putting it into the rent for the house. And so, it was like, I think a month went by, a whole ass month he didn't pay me the rent. And he still hasn't paid for the bong yet. And I bring that up again. I'm like, dude, am I ever going to see the money for that bong? And he's like, he starts talking like, oh, you should have communicated better with me about whose bong it was. This and that. He was coming up with excuses on not to pay it. And so I told him multiple times that he needed to pay for the glass so I could replace it. And so we got into this. There was another argument, and so after that, he goes to Diamonds, and literally he's not home for like a week and a half or something like that. He only comes over like whenever he needs something. And so, it was around the time, I think it was like, I can't remember if it was the end of January. It might have been, February or something like that. February 20th, something like that. He comes up to me, he calls me, and he told me that he broke up with Diamond. Actually, it might have been after February. I can't remember the exact date, but he called me and told me that he broke up, or she broke up with him, or what. But they've broken up like over the period, or like 4 times over like 2 months. They've broken up like 4 times. And this last time he called me, he's like, yeah, dude, I broke up with Diamond. I'm sleeping in my car right now. And he's like, I'm going back to Oregon, this and that. And like, now I was like, well, dude, why are you sleeping in your car? And he's like, oh, I just wanted to get away from you, this and that. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, why do you want to get away from me? Like, is there something I'm doing wrong? Because, just the sheer negligence of like not paying me back and like, totally disregarding the stuff that he threw away of me, acting like it's no big problem, So I'm like, dude, come home. You don't have to sleep in the car. So he comes to my house and he stays for like a week and a half or something like that. And he ends up packing all his stuff and he ends up leaving or whatever. And so, there was I was thinking to myself after he left, I was like, man, I'm never going to see this money again. I was like, because it was another month that went by. He still hasn't paid me. And I'm like, this dude is never going to pay me back for this money. And so, he had this mail or whatever that came in. And I was saying to myself, I was like, well, if he wants the mail, we could do a fair trade. He can give me the money he owes me, and then I'll give him the mail. So that was originally running through my mind, So I tell him this. I'm like, dude, I'm not, unless you pay me back, I don't have your mail is what I told him. Because, I wanted my money. I've waited, like, at this point, I've waited like 3.5 months, I think. He hasn't paid me at this point. And, all the runaround that he's done with me about the money not, just not wanting to pay me back. And I used the mail as a part to, like, get my money back, because what else was I supposed to do? Like, I knew if I just sent it out, he was like, oh, yeah, I got my mail. And he's like, fuck RCA. I'm not going to pay him back. That's what was running through my head. And so, I told him, like, as soon as I get my money, then we'll talk about the mail. So he goes on, he starts threatening that he was going to snitch me out to the police and this and that. Literally snitching me out. Like, this dude is turning into a snitch. Like, I'll post the screenshots of everything on the screen or whatever. You'll see all the screenshots and stuff that I have. But this dude literally threatened to call the cops on me. And this dude, throughout our whole friendship, he's like, dude, I'm not no snitch, this and that. And he's literally threatening to snitch me out to the police. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, this dude is not no friend. I was like, I at that point, I was like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. That's what I told him. I would rather just, you give me my money, I'll send out the mail, and we'll call it even after that. We're done. Like, I don't want no friendship. And so he got upset that, I told him that. So literally, he's been on the internet. Like, some of you have probably gotten a message from Robert saying, RC is deleting GPad, this and that, and whatever else bullshit things he's told you about me. I'm just telling my side of the story. So, and I did tell him that I was going to delete GPad. But after, like I was saying, I was like, a part of me wants to delete it, yes. Because, like, I have too many conversations on there. I have too many memories of, like, I just want to leave the past in the past. But also, another part of me is like, what can I turn it into something else, like a Call of Duty server or something like that, or what? Because, let's be real, I'm not active on Discord anymore. Because, like, I got too many responsibilities that I got to take care of. But, I was talking to a couple other people about, like, wanting to partner up with me and, team up with the server and stuff. So I changed the name of the server temporarily. So if I do plan on something, then you'll see in the future. But if not, then, I'll just end up deleting the server because I'm stuck at a crossroads right now. I just don't want nothing to do with what he is doing because, like, they're one of our friends. I'm not going to bring up her name because I don't know if she wants in it or not. She messaged me and, Robert knew her. Me and Robert both knew this chick. We were friends. We were friends for like 5-6 years or something like that. And she was part of GPad. And Robert made this other server and he basically invited everybody that was on GPad that he thought was worthy of the other server. He brought all those people on there, but our friend, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say Sarah is her name. This isn't her real name. Let's just say Sarah asked him to, like, what's going on, she went into the server, right? She went into that server to see what was going on because she had nothing to do with any of the drama that was between me and Ace. So Ace ended up banning her from the server because he said since she was friends with me that she was not welcome there anymore. And I got the screenshots on the screen, so you can see all the screenshots of, what the conversation. So, she kind of got hurt by that, and she messaged me, and she's like, dude, what's going on with GPad? What's wrong with Ace? I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I explained the whole situation to her, about everything that I've told you so far. And she's like, wow, but why is he banning me though? And I was like, I don't know. He's literally changed on me just like he's changed on you. Like he's rallying up all these people to go against me when really all he had to do was pay me my money and literally respect the rules of the house of keeping it clean. And he couldn't do that. And like, and then also this chick or whatever bringing her in, living rent free or whatever all this time and making messes and shit. And, at the end of the day, I have no will to ever talk to him again. Like, I got plenty of people in my circle that, I don't need him. And the fact that he was willing to snitch me out to the cops, that says a lot of what kind of a person he really is on the inside. Because over the years, I've noticed, like, while running GPad with Ace, like, there was instances that was completely unrealistic that he would ban people. Like, the whole Gen 7 thing, like, on GPad, we lost a lot of people over that. And, I don't want to say it's all his fault, but, like, part of it was, just for, like, how he was, like, treating people within the server. Because, like, there was about the whole thing about people not allowed to advertise in the server, this and that. That was all him, that made that a rule. And I just went with it because, like, Robert was my friend, and, it was, just something that I just went with. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I only went with it because, like, it was something Robert was passionate about. And so, like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, if Robert's going to be passionate about it, I'll ban whoever, And so, like, we lost so many people on the Discord server, over the years because of instances of him banning people for stupid reasons and shit like that. But now that I look back, my eyes are open now, and I realize, like, what kind of a person he really was. And it's sad that I wasted 6 years of my life with that person. But at the end of the day, like, I got everything I need. I got enough friends in my circle that I don't need him. And at this point, I'm just trying to move on. And whatever he says, I know he's out there talking shit. Because, like, there's been people coming on the server. I've been seeing, like, oh, RC is deleting the server, this and that. And then, like, But, yeah, that's basically my side of the story. That's everything that's happened. If he would have just manned up and took care of his responsibilities, none of this would have ever happened. But he was more, his priorities were focused on that woman. And at the end of the day, the woman didn't give a shit about him because, like, there was multiple times, like, she would block him over stupid reasons, and she broke up with him multiple times. And I think this last time he broke up with her. But it was crazy just the way he was getting treated. And I tried warning him. I was like, dude, this woman doesn't seem like a good woman, because how many times are you going to take getting blocked? How many times are you going to get all these arguments and shit? Like, how much do you want to put up with that? And, and there was an instance where I told him that she wasn't welcome back into the house for obvious reasons, because, like, the whole period blood in the bathroom, not throwing it in the toilet, her lying to Ace about her saying hi to me, this and that, and her creating all these dishes. It was just a multitude of things. But yeah, that, at the end of the day, it's nothing now. Everything will pass. It's time will heal everything. I've moved on with my life. I'm making good money right now. I'm trying to pay off my house and stuff like that. I don't have time for these immature games that he's portraying on the people, because, like, he's basically going around just rallying up a whole bunch of people to be against me and stuff like that. And, if anybody has those type of feelings towards me, that's okay, because I understand, because, there was people in the server that was really good friends with Ace. And, I can't help those people that, you can only listen to what I say. If you can take what I say with a grain of salt, or whatever. But that's my side of the story. I just wanted to clear things up because there's been people messaging me and stuff like that, and I just figured I would make this voice memo to clear up the things that's happened between me and Ace. And also, one thing I forgot. I did threaten to kick him out a couple times over all this stuff, and it was for good reason. With the whole, him not cleaning the house thing, yes, I did, because he wasn't taking care of his responsibilities and they were all being thrown on me. So yes, I did do that. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like I was wrong for doing that, because if I'm giving him a really good deal on the house, at least have some respect. I did a lot for Robert over the years. I did a lot. But yeah, that's everything. That's my side of the story. So, you can hate me, you could, whatever. I don't care. Those opinions don't matter. I still have enough people in my circle that I care about, but yeah, that sums up everything between me and Robert. And moving forward, there will be no more contact between me and Robert. I'm done. And as far as our friend Gino or whatever, I understand why you took Robert's side, is because, you're best friends with him too, I don't have no animosity towards you, because you don't know. You don't know how Robert really treated me, But I feel for you there. But at the end of the day, I would rather not have contact with you either. So, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, if you have any questions, just message me.